taking tip cuttings from this Coleus plant. That and a whole lot more coming up today on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
This program was funded by the following.
At dollarseed.com, all of our seeds are only $1 a pack. And we have online resources that teach you all about the rewarding hobby of growing your own plants, flowers, herbs, and vegetables. Imagine the joy you'll feel when your children actually help you harvest your first garden crop, or the pride of knowing you'll never need a florist again. Visit dollarseed.com and grow a little magic of your own for just $1. Dollarseed.com. What could be healthier?
Willow Springs Soap Company is a locally owned Colorado business just a stone's throw away from the Rocky Mountains. Their handmade soap is made from simple, recognizable ingredients, which lead to a more natural, earth-friendly, long-lasting, and hard bar with a wonderful creamy lather. They make soap using the cold kettle process with a specially formulated recipe of 100% vegetable oils. They use traditional methods that produce a true soap instead of the commercial synthetic alternatives that can dry out skin. Go to www.willowspringssoap.com to get a fresh and natural clean, handmade in the Rockies.
No matter where you live, you can compost year-round with the Worm Factory 360. It requires very little maintenance. As of 2010, the Worm Factory 360 is the only self-sorting worm composter made in the USA. Made with high-quality food-grade recyclable plastic with a 20-year limited warranty. For more information on how to purchase your own Worm Factory 360, visit www.lvworms.com.
The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener supports the following. Hunger Task Force believes that every person has the right to adequate food obtained with dignity. They're providing food for people in need. With their 151-acre working farm and fish hatchery in Franklin, Wisconsin, volunteers are needed daily. You could plant seeds in the greenhouse, ride the transplanter, or you can make an instant $10 donation from your mobile device by texting food to 52,000. For more information on how you can help end hunger, visit hungertaskforce.org.
Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. I'm Joey Baird. This show is dedicated to the average gardener, simple home living, and using what you already have. Well, today we're going to propagate this Coleus, or take tip cuttings or a clone from it. Now, why is that important to a vegetable gardener? Well, there's a lot of wonderful things that flowers can do for us. It can attract the good insects, or bees for that matter, to come into our garden and pollinate our fruits and vegetables. Also, it can attract the good insects to come to our garden to take care and eliminate the bad insects. Well, how do you do tip cuttings? It's quite simple. All we want to do is we want to find a portion of the Coleus, and it's just not Coleuses. There's many different plants that you can take cuttings from or clones from. And to find out if you have a plant in your yard or house that can do that, there's many different websites available to give you that information. Well, what we want to do is we got the main shaft here. Now we want to take a cutting off a tender or fresh stem that's coming off that main shaft. For example, and to show how neat this really is, about a month ago I was rotating this in the window and snapped off one of these tender growths. So I just stuck it in the ground and it grew right in the pot. So I'm going to dig this up and we're going to transplant it over into our transplant pots. So when the spring comes, when it's warm enough, we can take these and put them in the garden to attract the insects. So I want to see how well that this rooted itself. And you can also do this with several vegetables, tomatoes being one of them. But it has got a solid root in there. So I want to see in just a month how much root came and grew off of that. So we're just going to set this over in this pot right now to get it out of the main one. Now, a lot of nurseries take cuttings. This would be the mother plant, and in the early spring they would take multiple cuttings off this, just like we're doing here, and then they would sell these to you, the consumer, keep the mother plant all year long, and in the next spring do the same procedure again. So how we want to do this, you don't want to use scissors because scissors will pinch off that tender portion of that stem that's coming off the main shaft. You want to use a clean, sanitized knife to just simply cut that off. Now you're going to take and cut it across again. Now I've got a lot of things going on here. Really you want about a 3 to 4 inch piece here. So actually I could actually take and pull this off and plant that. I'll take these 2 lower leaves off because you want about 2 or 3 sets of leaves here. So I've got actually 3 sets. I got the 2 top, those 2, that one, and I got a bonus one here which I'm going to take off. Now you can take and you can get this root hormone powder at your local home garden center, and you can roll the stem, the base of the stem in it, and it just actually helps to root better, and you put it in the soil. Now if you don't have this hormone powder, don't worry about it. This one here didn't have it and it rooted just fine. Or if you have some honey, you can just dip the tip of the Coleus or whatever plant you're going to clone or take a cutting from, and the honey will actually act as a stimulator or an enhancer like the root hormone and allow it to root quicker with that sugar enzyme in the honey. So we're just going to take, this one here is a little longer than what we want, so I'm going to take, let's see here, I'm going to take and pull these leaves off here, and I'm going to cut it underneath this set of leaves right there. So let me cut that, and just a straight cut, and we'll just tuck that in there. That may be a little bit more than what we need, but that's okay. So let me get the rest of these cut, the rest of these tip cuttings in here, and then I'll show you what to do after that. So why would you want to do a cutting? Well, there's several good reasons why you would want to. One, it's a clone, so it has the same traits as the parent plant. They're resistant to diseases. It'll carry on the same color. Now if we wanted to wait and get seeds off this flower, it may not carry those same traits as the parent plant. Two, you can actually do this, and for year after year you could take these that we've done cuttings with, take a cutting off that next year, and continue these traits and this flower over and over again for many years to come. Also, the benefit of doing cuttings are, if you have a neighbor or a friend who has a plant like this and you don't have, you could actually go to their residence, take a cutting, bring it home, and continue this for years to come. So just some of the great benefits to doing cuttings on a plant. I got one more to go. Now the best area to pull from is these really fresh, tender new sprouts off the main shaft. Something large like this here in particular, not the best thing to do a cutting from. You just want to take one of these fresh ones here and put in the soil. Now you want to give these plenty of water, and in about a month or so they'll root real well, just like this one did. Now the reason I chose this particular plant, these are annuals, they don't come back every year. If this was left outside last year, it would have died, so I dug it and brought in because, as you see, it has this beautiful rust color, and in the fall, the whole plant is extremely that orangey color and looks really beautiful. So I wanted to continue on the plant by doing these cuttings, and then this year we'll bring this plant in again and everything and do it again. Now, if you're doing cuttings on a flower like this, and you have little flowers like that, you do not want to do a cutting on that particular branch. You want to bypass that. You strictly want to do on branches that have no flower growth at all. So with that being said, we'll water these, we'll put them by the window, and then when it comes warm enough in the spring, we'll put these in the garden to help attract more healthy, friendly bugs and insects to our garden to have a better vegetable crop come this fall.
You don't have to have any really fancy equipment to grow your own sprouts in your house. You can grow them simply by using these few simple items. Empty mason jars, some screening. You can also find lids to put on your mason jars, or you could use a pair of women's pantyhose. We're going to use the screens and the canning lids. If you don't have that, then you can also use rubber band with the pantyhose. So it's pretty simple. What you do is you take your seeds and you put them in the jars that you're growing them in. I have some radish sprouts here. Actually, I'm sorry, these are broccoli. So I'm going to get those in there. And you want to do about a tablespoon or less per jar. So I'm going to get these in here. And then you want to fill, because this is a little bit of a process with when it comes to time. So you want to take some water, some cooler water, and you want to fill these jars up about a quarter of the way. If you have a whole tablespoon of seeds, I'd probably recommend about half of the way. It's recommended to use filter water. We have well water. We put our betta fish in this water without filtering or anything, so I figure that's going to be okay for the sprouts. So you just fill it up. Then what you want to do is you want to put your screens on, or whatever you're using, and tighten them on. So now we have those tightened on there. What you're going to do is you're going to let them soak for about 8 to 12 hours. You want to put them in an area that does not get direct sunlight. Since we don't have a window near our sink, we're just going to put them back here behind our sink here, and we'll let those soak for about 8 hours. And then we're going to check out in about 8 to 12 hours. So now it's been about 8 hours or so. So we're going to go ahead and do the next process here. So we're going to drain them and then rinse them. And I don't know if you can see, you can tell in this one for sure, they've kind of expanded a bit. You know, if you do this yourself, you'll see that as well. And some of them are actually starting to pop open, allowing the seed to grow. So let's go ahead and get these rinsed and drained and rinsed. They're gonna want to, when you dump them out, they're gonna want to stick to the top. Just make sure, you know, you can let the water kind of take care of that. You can shake it. I'm just gonna rinse them twice, and then once you rinse them pretty well, you just want to have them go back down, and you can let them stick to the sides or the bottom of the jar. You just want to rest them on your towel here on the side. So if you just put it on this chin. So now that we've got them both rinsed and drained, like I said, you kind of want to make sure they spread out a little bit, and then you just rest them on their side there. You're going to leave them like that for about another 8 to 12 hours, and then you're going to rinse them. You're going to see them start to pop open and grow. You're going to do this every 8 to 12 hours until they've grown to the length that you want. Some of them will stop growing. Alfalfa sprouts will continue to grow, so you want to make sure you consume those. Once they are growing to the length you want to get rid of the hulls, and that's actually pretty simple. You just take a bowl of water, you dump the contents of the jar in the water, and then the hulls will float to the top. You just take a spoon to get the hulls out of the bowl, and then you can put them in an airtight container in your fridge for a couple of days, or you can eat them right away. So now it's been about 36 hours, and I've rinsed and drained them twice since then. You rinse and drain them about every 8 to 12 hours. And as you can see, they've started to sprout open. Some of them are starting to grow a little bit there. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and rinse and drain them again. So you just get the water in there, give it a shake, and then you want to make sure they get back down around the side and the bottom of the jar. So now that they've done that, now you want to just keep checking them, you know, when you get up in the morning, rinse and drain them. When you get home from work or in the evening before you go to bed, rinse and drain them. And watch their progress. And like I said, once they get to the length that you want, you can go ahead and get them ready for consumption. So there you have it, sprouts in a jar. It's a great project to do on your own or with friends, family, or little kids.
You don't have to buy a rain gauge like this to figure out how much water you're getting in your garden. You can make one out of some simple items. Now what we've done, and you can use a pole of any type, you can use a broom handle pole or a large dowel rod or even a small sapling that you've cut out of the woods. We've used the base off of 2 window blinds that we're using the window blinds as markers for, and then we used the square portion of the window blind that actually goes up to here to snap them together. And then we put a bolt through it to hold it together. We had the white on the top and the green on the bottom. That's just what colors we had. So you'll need a 3-liter soda bottle, and a 2-liter soda bottle. The 3-liter will attach permanently to the post. Whether you have wood or plastic, you can put a screw in it, or we put a bolt in it. And in the bottom, you want to drill holes to let the water drain through. Now this is not your rain gauge measure. This is the container for the rain gauge. You'll take your 2-liter soda bottle and you'll put markings on it in whatever type of measuring you want to. We've done in ours in inches. And you're going to cut the top off of it and into the funnel, and you're going to put the funnel into the top portion of your 2-liter soda bottle. Now it's ideal recommended if you can get a 2-liter soda bottle that has a flat bottom. That's the best. It's very hard to find that, so this will give you a very close measurement of what actually is falling in your garden with the 2-liter bottle with the little feet on it. So to attach the funnel into the soda bottle, we're going to staple one side, because if you just left it loose or taped it, you were not going to be able to pour the water out of it very easily. So we're going to staple one side of this into the soda bottle. And now whenever you have the rain and you measured it for whatever amount it is, you can just take and lift up the funnel, pour it out, and put the funnel back in. Now the funnel, or this 2-liter bottle, will set inside of the 3-liter bottle. Now the ones that I've seen online just has the 2-liter bottle permanently attached to the pole. Well, I didn't think that would work, because then you'd have to pull the pole out of the ground to empty your 2-liter bottle. So this will fit nice and neat in there, and any extra water that will go into the 3-liter will drip out of the bottom. So a simple, easy way to make a rain gauge to figure out how much water is falling in your garden. A few months ago, we saved some pear seeds from the pear tree out front, and we put them in the fridge in a paper towel and in an envelope and put them through their cold cycle. Today we're going to plant them. Now, planting pear seeds from a pear tree out front may not guarantee you the same type of pear tree. The only true way you're going to get a specific breed is by grafting, or you can go to your local home and garden center and purchase specific varieties of pear trees. But at the very least, we're going to try to start some pear trees and see how they grow. If they do produce fruit, if they don't, at the very least we'll have a tree that's very flush and green, and they'll help clean the air. Now, with the pear trees, it'll take about 5 to 7 years for a pear tree to reach maturity. And depending on the species of pear tree you get, they'll grow anywhere from 25 to sometimes up to 3 foot in a year. So here was the seeds that we put in the envelope in the fridge, and we put them in there for about 120 days, about 4 months, to get them to go in their cold cycle. Now we won't plant all of these, but I am going to plant about 4 seeds per container, and then as they get mature I'll separate them. So we'll just take, and I've got these larger pots here that we'd saved from last year from a gardening friend of ours. So we're just going to take and set them in the ground, set the seeds in the soil about a 1/2 inch and cover them. I'm going to go all 4 corners here on each one of these containers. And then it'll take I think about 20 days or so for these things to mature. I may be off on that a little bit. And then we'll harvest the better pear trees, or the better seedlings, and we'll discard the other ones. So let me get all these planted, and then we'll water them in. And when you're picking your seeds out of your the cloth that was in the fridge, you want to pick the biggest, healthiest looking seeds. Now, we'll just water them in with our little watering can so we don't flush the seeds or wash the seeds out of the container. And once these get established, even though you're not quite certain what these pear trees may be or if they'll even bear fruit, they do make nice housewarming gifts. And you want to take your markers and you want to mark each one of these so at least you know what they are supposed to be. And there, we'll keep them by the sun, keep them watered, and as they produce and start to grow, we'll keep you updated, and we'll see what we end up with in 5 to 7 years and see if we even have a pear tree that'll produce fruit. If nothing else, we'll have a beautiful tree that'll look nice in the yard. We all don't have access to a permanent workstation in our garden, but one of the ways around that is an item you already have in your house, an ironing board. Now, we got fortunate and found this one along the side of the road, but if you just want to take yours and modify it, you can turn it into a wonderful workstation for your garden. If you have hooks, or you can modify metal hangers to make hooks to hang on the side of your ironing board. You can drill holes to access and to make your tools more accessible, so when you're working at your station. Also, you want to take a bag of potting soil, road salt, or a heavy item and put on the legs to keep it sturdy so the wind doesn't catch it and tip it over. The benefit to an ironing board as a workstation is great for if children are participating in the garden activity with you. It's adjustable to whatever height they are, and they'll feel just as important as you do when gardening. So dust off that old ironing board and take it out in the garden. Well, that's all the time we have. Hope you enjoyed the show as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. And with tip cutting or cloning, it can carry on the beauty and the traits of the parent plant and keep those looking beautiful in your yard for years to come. And those sprouts are easy to grow and healthy for everyone in the family. For all of us here at the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener, I'm Joy Barrett, encouraging you, take a child gardener and start growing some memories.
This program was funded by the following.
At dollarseed.com, all of our seeds are only $1 a pack. And we have online resources that teach you all about the rewarding hobby of growing your own plants, flowers, herbs, and vegetables. Imagine the joy you'll feel when your children actually help you harvest your first garden crop, or the pride of knowing you'll never need a florist again. Visit dollarseed.com and grow a little magic of your own for just $1. Dollarseed.com. What could be healthier?
Willow Spring Soap Company is a locally owned Colorado business just a stone's throw away from the Rocky Mountains. Their handmade soap is made from simple, recognizable ingredients, which lead to a more natural, earth-friendly, long-lasting, and hard bar with a wonderful creamy lather. They make soap using the cold kettle process with a specially formulated recipe of 100% vegetable oils. They use traditional methods that produce a true soap instead of the commercial synthetic alternatives that can dry out skin. Go to www.willowspringsoap.com to get a fresh and natural clean, handmade in the Rockies.
No matter where you live, you can compost year-round with the Worm Factory 360. It requires very little maintenance. As of 2010, the Worm Factory 360 is the only self-sorting worm composter made in the USA. Made with high-quality food-grade recyclable plastic with a 20-year limited warranty. For more information on how to purchase your own Worm Factory 360, visit www.lvworms.com.
The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener supports the following. Hunger Task Force believes that every person has the right to adequate food obtained with dignity. They're providing food for people in need. With their 151-acre working farm and fish hatchery in Franklin, Wisconsin, volunteers are needed daily. You could plant seeds in the greenhouse, ride the transplanter, Or you can make an instant $10 donation from your mobile device by texting food to 52000. For more information on how you can help end hunger, visit hungertaskforce.org. The show never ends on our Facebook page. Keyword Wisconsin Vegetable Gardeners. Like the page and continue the discussion there. You can now follow us on Twitter, see what we're up to and what we're doing at the garden. The address, the W-I Veg Gardener, G-A-R-D-E-N-R. You can email us at thewiveggardener@gmail.com with your questions, comments, or suggestions about the show.